And welcome back, everyone, to the box office box office report today on the 18th of May, 2025. So I actually can't remember if I got the box office right. I did get the top three, the 1 through 3 spot right. Final Destination Bloodlines, our headliner, debuts at $51 million, which is actually insane. We'll talk about why in a little bit. Thunderbolts made her $16.5 million, dropping less than 50%. Okay. Sinners made her at $15.4 million. Minecraft movie made her 5.4, number 4 spot. The Accountant 2 made her 4.9, almost 5 million for number 5. Real quick, I saw a brief article saying Sinners has overtaken Thunderbolts for number 1 spot again. I'm like, no, it didn't. Didn't even take number 1 again, and didn't even beat Thunderbolts this week. So I have no idea what the hell that post about. And it's not even globally higher than it. Domestically, maybe that's what they're talking about, but maybe domestically, but I don't know. Either way, Final Destination Bloodlines debuted with 51 million, made 102 million worldwide, internet total opening weekend. This thing was projected between 33 and 45 million dollars. This thing way overperformed. So good on it. So this is a guaranteed lock to make its money back. It at best had to make 150 to make its money back. So it's going to almost certainly be doing that. I say almost certainly because we do have a giant tidal wave of Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible, or Mission Impossible, as I've been calling it, or missions just Stitch Possible, whatever. I'll figure out a clever way. People are saying this is going to be the next Barbenheimer. It could be. We don't know. But we're talking about this. 102 million worldwide, 51 million internationally and domestically, roughly speaking. That's damn good. On a $50 million budget, that's damn good. And, I mean, let's see here. Final Destination. I have another one up here. Let's see here. Final Destination. Let's look at what all the Final Destinations actually did. In terms of box office, there's 5 of them. This is the 6th one so far. So the city of your Final Destination, which is not a... Okay, so the original Final Destination worldwide went on to make $112 million. So it's all guaranteed to beat that. And with and it's the highest opening weekend of the franchise too. Should note that. This only opened on $23 million, $10 million, although it was against the $23 million budget. The second one opened up on $16 million, made $90 million. So it did make less, but clearly it was still made on a low enough budget they could warrant making another one. Final Destination 3 opened on $20 million against a $25 million budget and made $118 million. So that definitely was able to reap profit right there. Then you have The Final Destination, which was not. But that was made on more money, admittedly, $40 million. But went on to open at $27 million and made $186 million. So good on it. And then the current Final Destination was made on $40 million and made $157 million. So all these films made money. In fact, made some good money for Warner Brothers. So I guess one of the question is, what do we think took so long? Took no joke. Last one was 2011. What took them 14 years to make another one? Well, I mean, we've had so many franchises. To be fair, it was right around 2012 that the comic book franchise, movie franchises just boomed. I mean, they were starting to come into prominence around the early 2000s and mid 2000s. We had the MCU kicking off. We had the Dark Knight stuff. And then it just exploded in the 2010s. It just exploded. So, admittedly, you had a lot of moviegoers and all that going to things that weren't Final Destination really related. But that's not to say this film franchise didn't still have a place, clearly. So what took them so long? Was it the right story? I don't think it was that. Because I'm going to see the story. It's a decent story for this type of film. I'll give it that. It's a decent story for this type of film, but it's not like it's going to be winning any Oscars. Creative kills? No. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's creative kills in here, but we could have thought these up earlier. So what? Maybe it was just the fact they wanted to take a break. But again, it's Hollywood. You don't take breaks if you want to keep making money, with rare exceptions. So I'll be honest, I don't have a firm answer as to why it took them 14 years to make up another movie. Like, yeah, maybe take a couple years off. Last one was 2011. Wait 4 or 5 years. 2015, 2016. That's fine. But 14 years? Either way, it doesn't look like it hurt them that much because it has the highest opening of the franchise. It's currently only the of the six. It's the fifth highest grossing one of the six so far, but that's going to change very quick. It only has to do 84 million more, which you might think that's a lot for a movie like this, but it's really not. This film looks like it's very likely going to make over $200 million when it's all said and done, which for this type of franchise is, you greenlit the seventh one. You greenlight that shit. Strike while the iron's hot. But then again, it doesn't have to be every year. Like, again, the originals were like a couple years apart, 3 to 4 years usually. So wait, 2-3 years. That's fine. I mean, announce another one and like bring it out at the end of like beginning of 2027. January or February 2027 would be peak because we very rarely get any real big blockbusters in January. So this could be a niche market for it. Now, mind you, this also came out in May, which is a summer movie going season. So maybe that's why this partly had as big an opening as it did. But hey, look, I've seen the movie. I'm not huge a fan of this series, but it was fun. I fully acknowledge it was a fun, good time. So here's hoping, they announce some more, and here's hoping it's success. Speaking of movies that I wish success for, $16.5 million for Thunderbolts. Worldwide, right now, it stands at $325 million. Okay, that's not good. Like, look, I am someone who still sees the value in the MCU. I'm not burnt out on it. I'm still very much enjoying it. Even the films that I didn't love, like Captain America: Brave New World, I still didn't hate it or anything like that. I enjoyed a lot of it, but I just didn't like a lot of it. Well, Quantumania, I can still find things I can enjoy in that. Even Captain Marvel, which today is my least favorite MCU movie, I still can find things to enjoy it. I don't outright hate any MCU movie. And this movie is fantastic. It's really, really good. So then what ultimately happened here? First up, maybe there's more international releases coming, so maybe there's that's going to help it out. China, the whole issue with China and the tariffs and foreign films and all that might have hurt it. In fact, that could end up hurting a lot of films. Now, I think it said he was going to back off on that, so, but whatever. We're not talking about politics, but it's relevant to this conversation. So, some of the political stuff involving trade, including film trade, could have affected it. It also didn't open high. It opened at $75 million. A lot of smaller films would kill to make $75 million, period. And it opened on 75. And okay opening, all things considered. In fact, it outperformed the estimates, which is good. Which means it opened higher than what it was probably going to open at before, like, word of mouth and everything came along. So then why are we only at, in week 3, $325 million? Keep in mind, the movie is made on around 180. That's about 100 in marketing. This film does need to hit around Captain America: Brave New World numbers just to break even. It's still 95-ish million away from that. And chances are it's not going to do that. So what went wrong here? So there's a couple things we can talk about. And by the way, I do not want to hear anyone in the comments say, well, you see, the MCU's dead. People don't care anymore. This movie sucked. It's like, okay, first off, there might be a minor bit of truth to that, but don't use this to justify your argument. You don't. I'm sure videos are going to come out. Hey, the MCU's done. The MCU's dead. Shut up. Just shut up. No. The small amount of people who agree with you are just that, a small amount of people. You just like to hate for no reason. It's not fun. It's no one cares. The majority of people don't care about your opinion. So if you're one of those people going to try to comment on there, no. And before anyone says, dude, why are you getting so defensive? I'm getting defensive because I'm so sick and tired of idiots thinking they're right, of people who just want to ruin people's enjoyment thinking they're right. I'm really tired of that. However, as much as I hate to say it, there is a minor grain of truth to that. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with just the state of the MCU as a whole. The MCU is still recovering. It's just still recovering. We had Endgame, and then we had Spider-Man Far From Home, which was another billion-dollar film. Okay. Then we unfortunately had a pandemic, which does not help. And then we had to come in, and they did the stupid day-and-date release thing. Black Widow was, again, just a recap, and I'm going by a combination of my opinion and the personal opinion overall. Black Widow was okay. Most people agree with that. Shang-Chi, most people agree. Most people really like that film. And if you don't, that's fine. But just acknowledge you're probably in the minority on that. If there's a film that's widely well-received, that's fine. But you're in the minority on that. Eternals is a really mixed bag for a lot of people. It generally falls on the negative side. But then you got Spider-Man No Way Home. So right out of the gate, it's like, all right, a little choppy. But we're dealing with the pandemic and all that. And post-Endgame, so fine, whatever. Doctor Strange, while mixed, is generally positively received. Doctor Strange 2, and made nearly $1 billion. Thor is generally not well received, but still made 750. If I remember correctly, Wakanda Forever was better than it had any right to be given the circumstance. But then you had Quantumania, but then you had Guardians. But then you had the Marvels, and that was also during the writer's strike. But then you had Deadpool and Wolverine. But then you had Cap Brave New World. And now you have Thunderbolts. So, unfortunately, the consistency has waned a bit. Definitely. And again, nothing I think in any of that is terrible. But I think, I actually read someone kind of put it best, I think one of the problems isn't the movie side of things. Although it didn't help. It's the TV side of things. I think we got oversaturated with the MCU. I think that's ultimate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not burnt out on it. And if you don't have Disney Plus, you certainly aren't having this issue either. You might just not be. You might be tired of it. But I think at least for the general movie-going people or goers who also, watch MCU, Disney Plus, all that, they got burnt out on it because we had four different MCU projects during the pandemic with WandaVision, which was well received, Winter Soldier, which was generally well received, Loki, which was generally well received, and Hawkeye, which was meh. All right, fine. Then you get Miss Marvel. Cool. Well, in no particular order, but I think in that year. Miss Marvel, good, solid. Even though it didn't get as big a viewership, really good show. Moon Knight, I like Moon Knight, but it's got problems. But then we had She-Hulk. And my God, did that really hurt them a bit. Really. And that sucks, because I liked it. Tatiana Maslany was a good casting for Jennifer Walters. She was. But, it did not end well, unfortunately. And then you also had Secret Invasion, which unfortunately apparently there was release issues. So the Marvels was actually supposed to come out first and then lead into Secret Invasion. But unfortunately, with all the things going on, especially with the strikes and all that, and they set it up the way they did, and at least I believe that's, at least chronologically in the MCU, Secret Invasion is supposed to come out after the Marvels. Maybe it was on purpose, like he said when he came back down. It's like, I had a crisis of faith up there. We know that what that was. That was Monica dying or going into the other universe. So, but I don't know if that was a bad setup to what happened. I don't know. So I think it's a lack of consistency has hurt the guaranteedness of the MCU. And then obviously we had Born Again recently, which is really damn good. But yeah, so we lack of consistency and too much. Honestly, even as someone who watched them, and I will watch Ironheart. I don't think Ironheart looks bad. I'll be honest though. That's what I'm just going to be watching and be like, okay, what else are they doing? All right, there's probably going to be some fun stuff in it. I like Anthony Ramos. I am not sold on the Riri character, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens. But, I think we just got too much. I really did. Now, luckily, we do know Bob Iger is backing off on a lot of stuff at the moment. Saying, okay, hold on, let's back up. We're gonna really put the quality in. So those two happened. Also, though, let's be honest. Thunderbolts was not the A team. It was not. There were the biggest lister in there was Bucky, who isn't even an A-list character in the MCU. He's at best a B-list character. he's gotten a lot of screen time. He's got a lot of prominence, but he's not an A-list character. He's essentially the guy who leads that team, more or less. You got Yelena, who's introduced in Black Widow and shows up in Hawkeye, who's a C-list character, probably, at best, in this movie. I think she might even be original for the movie, I think, maybe. Either way. Red Guardian, who I love. Everyone loved Red Guardian, but is not... is not, like, again, not an A-lister. He only showed up in the one movie. You've got John Walker, who, people were iffy on in Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier, who's awesome in the movie, who really is good. You got Ghost, who was not even like a really big bad. I mean, she was the antagonist in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but not a real big bad. You have Taskmaster, who again is from Black Widow, who they really kind of made the sacrificial lamb. And they're introducing Sentry, and they got Elaine, Valentina is kind of the back. And so it's unfortunate. It really is, but I think that did hurt it. It did, which is amazing because it's one of the best MCU films we've had in a little while. Probably since Guardians 3, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Deadpool and Wolverine, but it is a part of the MCU without being a part of the MCU. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a part of it, but there's no real connection to the overall story of what's going on. Otherwise, I'd say Deadpool Wolverine would have been the best. But yeah, you've got all these things that's going on with the MCU as a whole. Then you got let's put it this way: if we were still at the hype of after Endgame, this film would probably be a lot more profitable. Like, all the films would be a lot more profitable. Black Widow might arguably be $1 billion film. Shang-Chi would probably be like a $750 million film. Spider-Man No Way Home might be a $2 billion film. Doctor Strange 2 definitely would have been $1 billion. Thor Love and Thunder maybe would have been about the same as Ragnarok, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if we were able to still ride the same hype train, if there was no pandemic, yeah, maybe. Honestly, if there's no pandemic, there'd probably be a lot different things going on too, to be fair. But again, they weren't expecting this to be a super high-grossing film either, to be fair. They know it was continuing the story. It got really well received by the critics and the audiences. It's also unfortunate. I can't speak to every issue because every person is different. So, I mean, what do you think the reason that it's probably going to lose some money, just like the last two, or just like the last one? Like, Captain America: Brave New World barely ended up breaking even. But it did still end up, but it got close. It got very close, like $415 million close. So I don't know. What do you think their main reason is? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gotta check the domestic real quick. So 155, because maybe this is what they were talking about, where Sinners takes the #1 spot again. Because let's be honest, it's not taking the #1 spot over Minecraft, which is God knows how big. Okay, that's what I mean. That's what they do mean it that way. 240 domestically for Sinners. So they made this 15-ish million, 314 million worldwide against a $90 million budget. Probably only had about 15, I believe it's like 15 marketing, something like that. That's success, baby. They got to be cracking champagne bottles. It is kind of impressive now that we're getting more original films that are overtaking like things like the MCU films a little bit. But again, the MCU is in a bit of a is trying to pick up the pieces a little bit. So, but yeah, great on Sinners. I mean, this film deserves it. I know Mark wants to try to go out and see it. I know my girlfriend wants to try to go see it. I mean, good on him. Great, wonderful. I don't have much else to say. Like, it is made a nice chunk of money. In fact, I'd go so far as to say I think it's made like $100 million profit, which you combine that with Minecraft, which is currently the highest grossing film of the year. No, it's not, Niza 2? It's not that. F that. It is Minecraft right now that is the highest grossing film of the year. Yeah, that's bullshit right there. But 291.9, it's $222 million. So, it's not making $1 billion. I think at this point now, we can safely say it's not making $1 billion. It's been out now for how many weeks? I want to say 5? What's this week? 7 weeks it's been out, and it's still been able to rake a little bit of profit in. That's good, man. That's damn good. unfortunately, it just, as other, as other bigger releases came in, they took a lot of the thunder out of this thing's sales. So, a lot of the wind out of this thing's sales. So, it just, look, it doesn't need to make it. It's made on like 150 million. It made in like on a marketing budget, I think, of like 50 or 70. It's not made on a huge marketing budget. So it made all of its money back almost opening weekend alone. As it stands, it is the most profitable film, I think, of the year right now. Because when you really break down the numbers, if you do it real quick, this film, I think, has made like $350 million worth of profit. So, yeah, it did well for itself. There's nothing to be sorry about. The Accountant 2, another $4.9 million. Currently stands at $90 million. So congrats. At least got to its budgeted amount. I've already said why I don't think this film ended up doing well. And it sucks. I like the film. I enjoyed the film quite a lot. But it was a film that was, let's see, the first one I think came out 2024 again, The Accountant? It was like 2024, 2024 or 2025. 2026. Okay, it was like 2026. It's a near decade later. If you were going to do a sequel to this film, you needed to jump on it maybe four-ish years ago, maybe like 2021 or 2, maybe could have been more acceptable. But because that's only like 5 to 6 years later. Unfortunately, I think they're trying to pass for a sequel for this film. And I like the film. The film's good. It's fun. I enjoyed it. But speaking of films that, I don't have a good segue for that. Hurry Up Tomorrow debuts with $3.3 million. I want to know what the box office currently is at right now, because when I initially saw a post, like a screenshot straight off of Box Office Mojo, Rotten Tomatoes, that showed that it was at 0% from the critics. Now, apparently that has gone up, but not by a lot. So where does it currently stand? Hurry Up Tomorrow, 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. And what am I looking at in that freaking poster, man? Oh, okay. I thought that was like a club. That's him screaming. Look, I'm not a huge The Weeknd fan. Like, these got some songs I like. I can't feel my face when I'm with you, but I like it. Yeah, that's fine. Starboy's okay. But the thing is, as an actor, The Weeknd does not have a big history as an actor. Oh God. You want to know how bad some did? It opened, its Friday was $2.3 million. Then Saturday and Sunday just got worse and worse. Holy crap. But everything, and I've actually heard at least the acting is fine in the movie, but The Weeknd, so I never saw that, I didn't see this movie. I did see him in his brief bit when he was playing himself in Uncut Gems. Not much to go off of there. I have seen a little bit of The Idol. Oh, God. But I have seen a little bit of that. I'm not saying The Weeknd can't be a good actor. I'm not saying that. Plenty of musicians can become good actors. We got, I think Bon Jovi was on Days Are Alive, something like that. So he became an actor. A lot of rappers became actors and are not bad at it. Lady Gaga's actually a very good actress. But, you know what they all did beyond? You know what they all did? They actually played characters. Not playing, they didn't try to play themselves. Some of them did, and sometimes it works. Like Snoop Dogg sometimes just plays Snoop Dogg. Sometimes I think Ice Cube has at least once or twice just played himself, and I think Lady Gaga's done the same a little bit. But they all also played other characters too. The Weeknd hasn't seemed to figure out, we don't care about The Weeknd as a person that much, because all you seem to do is try to show off that you're this deep, you're like this wicked sex demon who's also really deep and personable. Like, no one cares about that, like, at all. And that shows. The money shows. No one cares about that. Plus, this film was not marketed well. I actually said, okay, I'm not going to see this film. Let me look up what the plot was. This is dumb. Like, this is really, really dumb. This is stupid. Like, no wonder you couldn't market this film well. I don't know how you're supposed to, like, even, what kind of movie were you making? This is stupid. Yeah, like, you're not as deep as you think you are. That's kind of the weakest problem. It's like, he's not as deep as he thinks he is. But he just wants to show that he's this kind of, he's this guy, man. This person, like, I don't know. I just don't know. We have Friendship, which, that's the, that is the new Paul Rudd movie, which I've heard is also, it's a comedy, but also portrayed like it's a horror movie too. Like this suburban dad falls hard for the charisma of a new neighbor. So yeah, I mean, good for it. Glad it got 50. It got 54 extra screens and it jumped up 214%. Imagine if you gave this thing like 500 screens. So yeah, Clown in the Cornfield, another 1.3 million. Talking about a film that's probably either it's made on absolutely nothing, it's making a profit, or it's made on like 5 million and it's not going to be doing anything. Until Dawn, another 800 grand, currently almost 50 million, still isn't quite there to be making its money back from what I understand. Well, actually, hold on. No, actually, let me think about that for a second. Because its budget is like 12.5, I want to say, is the budget. I think. Or is it like 8 million? Okay, hold on one second. Until Dawn. What was the budget on this again? Okay. Until Dawn movie budget. What was the budget? I want to say 12. Okay, it was about 15 million, give or take. Okay, that sounds about right. Wasn't a high budget film. However, you still have to factor in marketing, and it still had like 20 million in marketing. Even if we bare minimum the marketing, that means it's made on 35 million. So then if you take the third roughly that the studio gets, you're looking at a film that roughly speaking had to make like 52 million to break even. So, and I'm lowballing the marketing budget. It could have been more. But, I mean, maybe? It's not gone from theaters yet. But with better horror films out like Sinners, a new fun time with Final Destination Bloodlines, it's coming to a very quick end. The Amateur made their 712 grand. 712 grand. 93 million. Again, another film that just didn't do very well, unfortunately. Shadow Force just opened last week, and it's just coming and going. And I love Kerry Washington. God, she's gorgeous. And she's a good actress, too. But, yeah, Fight or Flight, another film that just came and went. Warfare, pretty done. Snow White is... Oof. I think we've said enough about that. Everything else is just kind of nebulous at the moment. But, look, if there's one good thing about the box office right now, if you do the math for top 8, which is all the millions, you're looking at right now a film that's somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's see, 39, round that up to 7, so 40, 91. So still just over 100 million at the box office this weekend. So that's at least good. But now we got the big boys. We got the big boys coming out to play. Like, Thunder, it's interesting here when Thunderbolts wasn't the big boy coming out to play. I mean, it was the first big boy to come out to play, and it did okay, at least opening weekend. But no, we got Mission Stitch Possible coming out. We got the newest Barbenheimer. So we got, Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. And Mission Impossible's got about 80% Rotten Tomatoes right now, if you saw it when I checked. It's got good reviews. Lilo and Stitch, though, is going to be the higher grossing one. Just opening weekend. I'm completely convinced. It's a 4-quadrant film family based on IP that exists. The trailers have looked very fun. So, yeah. Lilo and Stitch, number 1. Mission Impossible. Final Destination. Thunderbolts. And I'll go Sinners after that. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. Thanks for watching, though. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm going to pre-record my Who Would Win for tomorrow because I got the week of What If this week. So that way it's going to free up my day tomorrow just a little bit. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.